I made these pieces of lace cloth for France when I had my workshop in France, and as you can see, the square mouth monster has been and taken a bite out of them. They were part of the kits for the workshop, but this one, when I was actually in France and I was sitting, when I wasn't teaching, I had like a stand thing, and I was sitting embroider on this while I was just sitting there while people were looking at my stuff and asking me questions and things. So this has got quite a lot of embroidery on it already. This one hasn't got any. So what happens with this is, I've been taking bits off it for artist books or for collage. Perhaps maybe it would go on something like this. This is just a paper sheet that I'm going to not tear up, I'm going to keep as a paper sheet and mount it in some way when it's finished. But a little bit of this perhaps would go on there and it would look really nice. It would like really, I don't know, it would fill a nice space and allow it to flow. There's a little bit of colour over here and here and here. So that's what I'll be using it for. That's why I've been cutting bits out of it. This was probably embroidered in that area, then cut out. So what I just wanted to do today was, oh, I've got a sequin there. So let me put that away. I don't want to lose it. They're like gold dust. Priceless. Can't be losing that. So I'm just wanted to put a bit of buttonhole lace around one of these today, just to progress it. It's good. I mean, I talk a lot on my blog about having a stash, and this is part of having a stash. It's building things up and creating these pieces that then become part of your stash. I love this needle case, the one that I made before my needle case class, which is like, we're making these now. Love it, it's really soft, really nice to hold. Anyway, so I'm just going to do a little bit of buttonhole around one of these areas, because you'll see, I'll show you the other one in a second. So this one technically is naked, and this one buttonholed around every single hole, and then there's French knots as well on there, and some of them have got bits of lace behind them as well. There's a couple of bullion loops there, but that started off like this, completely naked. So I'll just find a... I want quite a small one, but I want to be able to get it properly in the hoop. I'm going back to France next April to the same show, but I'm not working, I'm not teaching, I'm going as a visitor, because it was such an amazing show. It's in Nantes, and I didn't get a chance to look around because I was just working so much and I couldn't leave my stand really very much. You can ask other people to keep an eye on it for you when you're not there, but you can't, you don't feel that you can ask too often, you know, take the mickey and like use up too much of people's goodwill. So I literally had about an hour, that was all, to run around and have a look one day. But I want to go and really look, spend a couple of days looking. I've actually been looking who's doing workshops this time to see if there might be a workshop I want to do, but I'm not, there's nothing really that jumps out at me at the moment. But just to be there, to know that I've got 2 full days to have a look around. We're going for a week, my husband's coming, but he won't come to the show with me. But it will be nice. And there was another exhibitor there, an English girl next to me, and we became quite good friends, and her husband and my husband seem to get along. They might be coming too, so. And I'm also going to try and get a day in Paris when I go. It's about 4 hours on the train, but I think it'd be silly not to if I'm actually in France, because we don't have to, we can get a late train back, so we can maybe get a good 6 hours in Paris if we plan it properly. But I'm looking forward to going back to that show. Right, so if we go around here, and then I'm going to go around it again, and then eventually, hopefully, this will end up like the other one, as heavily embellished as the other one. This is what they were doing in my workshop. And then they were when they were finished, they were mounted in hoops to hang on the wall. So, and I think everybody enjoyed it. It was, we had like a lot of laughing going on, because obviously they were French ladies, and I don't speak, well, I speak a little bit of French, but not a lot. And I had a translator. I managed some of it on my own, but not all of it. And some of the ladies spoke English, so that was a bonus. Just need to, I'm going to go around it once more, but I need to change my needle. Let's put this one away. Oops, wrong way. So, and things take me longer on camera, so if you imagine there, how long has that taken me? Let me just look at my notes. It took me 5 minutes, I guess, but there was a little bit of chat there, so I could probably knock off a minute for that. But if I wasn't on camera, this whole thing would have been done now. Can't find the thing. There you go. So I'll go around it once more, and then it makes it really lacy. If it was a very small hole, I might not necessarily go around it twice, because that would fill the hole with lace, which would be nice, but if you wanted the actual hole to be there for effect, you know, you wanted that open look, then you'll be defeating the object, filling it with buttonhole lace. So some very small holes I only go around once. So I'm nearly all the way around, so it's really quick, but then you can't underestimate how much work there would be in doing this whole piece, because there's so many holes in them. I might even count them in a minute. So, and then of course you've got to go back and, well, you have to, if you want to add French knots and things, if you want to add more embroidery. But yeah, so they made little embroidered hoop art, and I think they were all really pleased with what they'd done. So there. So I've gone round twice now, and it took no time at all, did it? And look at the difference between that one and that one. You know, if you compare. So if I go and fasten that off. Oops. And feed up through there. Then we'll see how many holes are around here. Just put this away. There's a lot, and some of them have been cut off, haven't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 on that one, and there's a corner missing off there, so there's quite a lot on there. I'm not going to count those, but so hopefully eventually that one will look like that one, with a lot more time. That's the hole I've just done there. That one there. And that's a bit of a close-up for you of that one. I'm sorry there's a big square chunk gone out of that. Well, I'm not really sorry, because it'll have been used for something useful, don't worry. Yeah, so that's that lace cloth from France. Well, not from France, from Blackburn in Lancashire, taken on holiday to France and then brought back.